Great Biafrans, wherever you are, on the face of this very planet, we welcome you to a landmark edition of our broadcast this very unique day, the 15th day of January 2020, with the time now standing at approximately 3 minutes past 7 p.m. in the sacred land of Biafra. I welcome each and every one of you. I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to some of you, irrespective of where you are domiciled. We are coming to you live. We are direct and, of course, interrupted, as we know they will try to do each time we advertise on time that we are going to be on air. Our enemies are not resting. We are not resting either. It is our responsibility and our duty to redouble every effort to ensure that we stretch every sinew in our body in the propagation of this message of hope, of restoration, this very message of enlightenment, a message of renewal, a message of a new birth, a message of the emancipation of not just the people of Biafra, but everybody unfortunate enough to inhabit the sub-Saharan African continent. Because Biafra is the light, they acknowledge it secretly, they openly pour scorn on it, but we know it and we proclaim it to the hearing of humanity that Biafra has come to stay. There is nothing our enemies can do about it. We are resolute and we are determined. We are relentless because we will not retreat. We will not surrender. Our march towards Biafra is inevitable. The sovereignty of Biafra is a certainty that there is nothing our enemies can do about it. This evening we shall enlighten ourselves. This evening we shall lecture. This evening we shall tutor our people. This evening we shall bring to the knowledge of humanity the level of conspiracy, the level of hatred, the level of destruction that these forces of iniquity have joined together to unleash against the children of the Most High. We make no apologies to anybody. We are a special breed of people. Very, very special. We make no apologies. We are the best of the best, the finest of the finest that you can find anywhere. No apologies whatsoever. The fact that some evil forces doing the bidding of Lucifer have risen and connived against Biafran people will not and can never make us forget who we are, where we are going to, and the inevitability of the restoration of the kingdom of heaven upon the face of this very earth. And that is Biafra. Our enemies understand it. It is about time that our people also do understand it, because we are not going to stop until Biafra is restored. They have been lying to us for very many years. They tell us all manner of nonsense, that the war has ended. Of course it hasn't ended. Who told it has ended? Those people congregating, I don't know where they say that, always in Lagos. They cannot congregate in Enugu because it's polluted. They cannot congregate in Owerri because the gods of the land are against them. They cannot congregate anywhere in Biafra land because they know they have polluted the land. They run all the way to Lagos, as usual, in their useless, senseless jamboree, talking nonsense always that the war has ended. If the war has ended, how come Iguacha Seaport is not working? If the war has ended, how come Warri Seaport is not opened? If the war has ended, how come Calabar Seaport is not working? If the war has ended, how come there is no international airport? If the war has ended, how come our roads are in such a deplorable condition? If the war has not ended, how come there is unimaginable unemployment afflicting the youth of our land? If the war hasn't ended. The war has ended, my foot. Today we have come to preach this very noble gospel. Today heaven will bear us witness that here on this platform we speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But before we proceed, I must remind our listeners from all over the world that the powers that be, those that have always maintained the conspiratorial and criminal stance that Biafra will never emerge, they have come again this evening. They are on our satellite. We cannot broadcast. The world cannot hear the voice of Nnamdi Kanu because they know we drive away demons, because they know very well that we speak the truth. They know that on this platform, this hallowed, this noble platform, this Radio Biafra, that Chukwokika Biam out of the kindness of his heart, granted that we may use to propagate the gospel of the restoration of his kingdom upon the face of the earth. That is why they attack us always. Today they have gone after our satellite, that our radios in Biafra land may not propagate this very gospel, but they are mistaken, because we are live on a whole host of platforms. We are streaming live on Facebook. We are streaming on other social media platforms as well. They cannot stop us. They cannot stop us. They did not stop our fathers. They cannot stop us now in this very media savvy age. There is nothing the Janjaweed can do with the help of the British to stop us. Absolutely nothing. They will keep wasting their funds. They keep wasting their money. But the effort on our side is unrelenting. Unrelenting. Until Biafra is restored. Those who doubted us before, they have now come to their senses. They have now realized my name is Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, and by the grace of Almighty God in heaven, a servant of the wonderful people of Biafra. We have been called to serve, and we must serve. We have come that the truth may be spoken. It doesn't matter who is hurt or who is injured by the truth that we speak. That truth must be spoken in our time, in our place, this very period. We must pray. It is our duty, our responsibility, and our obligation to call upon the presence of the Almighty God in heaven, because we are as constant as the northern star. We do not move our position. Where we were yesterday is where we are today. People circulate around our pronouncements. They gather and conspire around the policies that we have set in motion, but ultimately they have come to the realization that we are always right. Everything we say is correct. From the Operation Amotokun, the security operatives in the West, to the issue of Ihedioha in the Supreme Court, everything has come home to roost, isn't it? Everything we have said. To those that castigated us when we said that voting is useless in the zoo. To those that kept quiet when Onoyen was sacked. To those whose only job is to recycle the same mantra always, the same discredited, irrelevant mantra of one Nigeria. Let's work in harmony, in peace, and in unity. They are busy killing us. They are busy slaughtering us. They are busy rendering us homeless. They are busy beheading us. They are busy raping our mothers. And all you can think of is one Nigeria. You gather in Lagos to do the end. Do you see how mad these people are? Because let me pray to Elohim. Before the anger that I have within me for these efulefus will boil over. I cannot speak against the Holy Spirit. I must maintain a very dignified stance because humanity is listening. They want to know what Biafra will become, and that is what we are here to tell them. But we must pray. You must excuse me. You must pardon me. I will pray in the language of heaven, because before the Almighty Creator, in the place that no human can go to, the angels surround the throne of the Almighty. They bow before Him. You are holy. We make no bones about it. We proclaim our faith very boldly and without any fear, that we don't have any other God apart from the Almighty in heaven, the creator of the heavens and the earth. That which said, let there be light, and there was light. We go through all manner of pains and tribulation, that your will may be done upon our lives, that the spoken word that came forth from your mouth that you will deliver your children may come to fruition in our time. That is why we have every hope that Biafra will come, because there is no other than thee. There is nothing that could be compared to thee, O Elohim. Nothing, absolutely nothing. You are the beginning and the end. If we start now to praise thee until eternity, your goodness upon our lives, we cannot begin to recount them all. Therefore, we say that every adoration, every exaltation, every praise, every honor belongs to thee, the only majesty, the only giver of life, the beginning and the end, the architect of our existence, because only thee can make Biafra come. It is not within our might, not within our powers. We are mere mortals, we are nothing. We live but only but in flesh. For one day we shall pass on, but your word shall remain forever. Therefore we call upon thee to have mercy upon us. We call upon thee, O Elohim, to grant us your grace and your mercy, that the fulfillment of the purpose for which Biafra was constituted in the realm of the divine may be manifestedly made abundant in the lives of those that inhabit this very decade. Therefore, we call upon thee to please have mercy upon us. The Janjaweed in our territory, they continue to use those who cannot say no to additional bag of 1 million naira. The same thing that the British did when they came, so are the Janjaweed, the Fulani Caliphate, doing to us today. There is almost an endless convoy of Efulefus who are willing to betray their own people, willing to betray your children. May their faith, O Heavenly Father, be worse than that of Judas Iscariot, I beseech thee. Be merciful unto your children. Come and have mercy upon us. Come and give us Biafra in our time, that the world may know that we are your children. Therefore, Elohim, Chukwukika Biama Purimi Heni Nani Wena, Wokuri na Jare Manetori, n'ụzọ niile dị iche iche onye nwe m dị ngozi ma ruo mgbe ebighị ebi, ka ịhụnanya gị wee mụba ebe ndị gị nọ, ka iwe bulie IPOB elu n'ihi na ọ bụ ihe iji onwe gị kwadoro wee hiwe ezi ebube dị ngozi, ka ịma mma gị wee zuo oke n'ime ndị niile bụ ndị ji wee nwe ntụkwasị obi nna nke ebere dị ngozi. Biko mere anyị ebere. Have mercy upon us. Forgive us our trespasses, especially those who see in the dark and turn to prophecy of the informants. We ask thee, O Elohim, to forgive us in any way our ancestors may have erred. Please have mercy upon us. And remember your word to your children, that you will never abandon us. Now is the time, we beseech thee, that Biafra may come and your will may be done upon this very earth, now and forevermore, we pray. He said, this evening we are going to lecture. This evening we are going to announce things that they have hidden from us from of old. And as usual, our analysis will come precisely from independent sources, not anything that could be attributable to a Biafran, not anything that the world may use to go on their propaganda trips all over the world via the zoo embassies, via Nigerian embassies, to say that we concoct news items. Here we are going this evening to bring to your knowledge the dubiousness of the existence of one Nigeria and the role of the British in it. I want to very definitively this very evening put it to rest once and for all that Nigeria never fought Biafra, because we are Nigeria to fight Biafra. Biafra will defeat Nigeria every blessed day. The war that they claim, that war is still going on till this very day. The war that they claim ended in 1970. that war that is still raging till this very day was fought between the British and the Biafrans. Nigeria was just a proxy. For those who are educated enough to understand the meaning and the context which I am using proxy this very evening, Nigeria-Biafra war was a British proxy war against the stubborn Biafrans. As I shall demonstrate this very evening, when I hear people talk about Murtala Mohammed, when I hear people talk about the dead Buhari, when I hear people talk about Gowon, I hear people talk about Obasanjo, about Adekunle, and all those they claim fought in that very war. I want to put it to all of them, both those who are dead and alive, that it was Britain that fought Biafra, not Nigeria. Fact that will be demonstrated beyond every reasonable doubt this very evening. Therefore, you must get your pen and your paper ready, because we are going to dissect that very war they claim. The war that has continued till this very day, but they are running around in Lagos claiming it ended. Let it not happen again. It's happening. They are beheading our people. They are raping our women. They are establishing their colonies and their settlements in Enugu. They came into Nimbo. They came to Zowani. I don't know what people are saying. It has finished. It has even intensified in recent times. What finished? Maybe in Lagos it finished, because the Fulani succeeded in mirroring what the British did when they came to colonize our people. They get one or two Efulefus from somewhere. They promised them a chieftaincy title. That was how chieftaincy came into our land anyway. Warrant chiefs, so to speak. As a matter of fact, that was how it came in. The British decided who should be the ruler of our people, not us deciding. The same thing they have done today in Imo State, in the Supreme Court. The same thing they have done. People somewhere always deciding for us. Always deciding for us. We have never made any decision ourselves as a people. Nobody asked us when they built their useless one Nigeria. No one asked us. When Zeke was junketing from place to place, he never asked anybody, should we belong or not? These are the consequences today. The events which some people foolishly and hopelessly accommodating in Lagos started from Nzobo. Nzobo, again, like Zeke, was fighting for one Nigeria. Why is it that our people cannot reason, nor learn, nor understand from history? Why? We are in this mess today because Azikiwe believed in one Nigeria. We are in this mess today because Nzogo was fighting to preserve one Nigeria. We are in this mess today because Agri Ronsi introduced the unitary system of governance in Nigeria because he was fighting to save Nigeria. Each time we have tried this nonsense of salvaging Nigeria, of belonging to one Nigeria, we have come out worse all the time. Historically speaking, from 1945 to 2020, the same thing is still happening. Our people do not learn. They don't want to learn. They don't want to understand until we are all destroyed in their foolishness. Until we are all destroyed. Our enemies are plentiful. Very, very plenty. You must understand this. We are the chosen children of God in heaven. I'm telling you this. And regardless of what we encounter in this very life, it is a position, it is a mantle that we cannot relinquish. It is a position, a very privileged and unique position, from which that very pedestal we can never climb down, because Biafra can only grow from strength to strength. I assure you. We are broadcasting this evening. People must understand this very, very clearly. Only then can you begin to properly situate the achievements of IPOB. Some of you don't know the amount of enemies we are fighting. You have no idea. You have no conception. You have no knowledge, no understanding of what we are going to, what we pass through on a daily basis. You do not know. Facebook cannot share this very broadcast. If you go on my page, they will not allow you to share it. That is number one. We are fighting it. Even this evening, I'll prove, even Reuters news agency, every news agency in the world has been bought over. You must understand this. Every diplomat that comes to Nigeria in Abuja or Lagos, they have been bought over. You need to understand this. They have even come into our own land to buy over our own people. You must understand what we are facing. You must understand who we are fighting. You must understand the strength of our enemies. Today, our satellite is down. Our radios cannot speak. You cannot share this very broadcast on Facebook. Not at all. They won't allow you to. Now you understand it, don't you? Now you appreciate the enormity of the task before us. That is why we must all of us must be part and parcel of this unique IPOB family worldwide. All of us must be together in IPOB because we are whiter than white and whiter than snow. Elohim revealed things to us years in advance. When we say something and we stick to it, you better join us, you better follow us. Imo State is an example. A very clear example. If one is needed. Fulani have taken over Imo State. But they forgot one thing in their equation. That we are IPOB. We are unstoppable. Facebook can hide the links to my page. They can hide the links to Radio Biafra, to Radio Biafra London. They can do whatever they like. They will do everything to suppress this very message of hope and redemption. But they can never, ever succeed. That I assure you. We are told that the war ended. This evening, please, make sure you have enough data. Because our radio stations, I understand, in Biafra land, this evening, none of them is functioning. Our FM. Because Nigerian government have bribed our satellite providers. Each time they know that Nnamdi Kanu is coming on air, they give them money, they shut out our satellite. They give one stupid excuse or the other. Satellite that we pay for. Satellite that IPOB pays for on a monthly basis. A substantial amount of money. They shut it down. Because they don't want the world to hear the truth. Biafra is facing multiple enemies on many fronts. On many fronts, you must understand this. This is the minefield that we have to navigate on a daily basis. Some of the Fulefus don't understand. Some people who are ignorant cannot appreciate the level of hard work we have to put into this very effort to get the results that we are getting so far. Some of you have no idea. You have no idea whatsoever. None. That was why Ojukwu failed. Ojukwu failed because of the enormity of the task, because of the enormity of the burden. Enemies everywhere, because we are chosen. People are envious of us, because we are the chosen race to develop, to bring light into Africa. Without Biafra, Africa can never be developed. It is a statement of fact. Africa will never, ever. You can be as jealous, as envious as you like. That is your business. But that is the way that God in heaven made it. That for light to come into Africa, Biafra must be free. That is why Britain is doing everything within its powers. We are not fighting Nigeria. Stop. Nigeria is nothing. We're not even fighting Britain. They're the ones fighting us. Are we fighting them? Are we the ones that try to blow up an airliner? Is it not the same Alamajiri that they're supporting? The same northern the same Fulani Arewa Nigeria, the same Sharia Nigeria in the north, are the same people threatening Britain every blessed day. But Britain prefers to work with them than you. Ask yourself why. We are Judeo-Christians. Britain brought Christianity into Biafra land. Ask yourself, why is it that Britain doesn't want to work? What have we done to them? Have you asked yourself that question before? Why is it that Britain hates Biafra so much that they are prepared to kill everybody in Biafra land through the Janjaweed? They can't do it themselves. They need the Alamajiri from the north to do it for them. And the Alamajiri is smarting. Oh, they are very clever. They are very clever. Of course they are not. We know it is Britain engineering everything. We know it's Britain doing the work for them. We know that. We encounter them. We go on our diplomatic missions. And we know what diplomats are telling us. But this evening, this gospel must be preached. Nothing. You see that go on that intervened knew nothing about the war. All he did was sit in Lagos. They bring arms. They bring Egyptian pilots. They bring soldiers from Niger, from Sudan to come and fight for them. They never fought any war. They never defeated Biafra. All of you going about saying, oh, Nigeria, you are talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Show me the evidence. Nigeria never defeated Biafra. Britain did. And that's what I'm going to prove to you tonight. They bribe CNN, BBC. They even brought you BBC Igbo. They brought BBC Igbo to us. Some of us foolishly are joining BBC Igbo. Let us. They are agents of destruction within. They are working for the Fulani Caliphate. BBC Igbo is working for the. That is what they have done. Because they know that they can buy over your so-called elders, they can buy over your politicians, they can buy over your journalists. They can do that very easily. It's money that they need. They give them money, they buy them over. But we remain unbuyable. They know they cannot buy Nnamdi Kanu. You cannot buy IPOB. It's impossible. Our conscience, it is impossible. And so it can never be done. Our pursuit is Biafra, and they know it. They come to you. We are going to Musan Center. We are going to discuss the end of the war. Are you mad? End of which war? Who told you the war has finished? Fulani are in a bunny, killing our people, raping our mothers. They're telling you the war is over. You cannot go to school in your own land. Your children are immigrating abroad to try and survive. And you're telling me the war is over. Let Ozemena in Lagos. Are you stupid? This is the type of leadership you have. These are the criminals you have in our land. Pretending they go and pay Yoruba journalists. The Apex Igbo movement. Apex. Every blessed day. But your life is the same. Your hopelessness is getting worse. Your mothers are being raped. You're not ashamed of yourself. Your grandmothers are being defiled in Ebonyi. You have a governor in Ebonyi. Our mothers are being raped in Ebonyi. And he does nothing. He's telling you, I'm in APC. I'm in PDP. I belong to everybody. What nonsense is that? Is that how you defend your land against these marauding invaders from the north? Is that how you defend your land? Obiano told us that he's working with Miet Yala in Anambra. And some people are clapping for them. You clap for them. You people are the problem. I do not blame the so-called leaders. I blame the sheepish idiots that... Oh my goodness. That praise sing for these people every blessed day. You keep praise singing for them every day. And our lives are getting diminished on a daily basis. You are the ones I blame. The war has not ended. And this evening we are reminding the whole world that the war never ever stopped. As a matter of fact, it is very subtle, we know, but they have intensified it. Intensified it, very much so. Very much so. Because things are happening. I assure you that things are happening. Very terrible things. There is a story published by the independent newspaper of United Kingdom. I am very, very sure that this lady, maybe she is a Biafran, I do not know. But her name is Ajibade, which means that she must have, like Onyeko, when he must have married somebody from Yoruba land. Her name is Ije Ajibade. She wrote for the independent newspaper in the UK. It's very, very important that we understand this. She was basically recounting her memories of the war, and she delved into some very detailed, what some people might consider slightly complicated history of the zoo called Nigeria. In this very article, she made some... I want to understand for the life of me why blacks cannot... I say this every time we come on air, that there is something fundamentally wrong with black people that we cannot reason very well. I say it all the time, that we cannot reason very well. When your enemies are plotting your downfall, you must sometimes sit back and take stock and ask yourself, why is this happening? If we are not a credible threat to the neo-colonialists in the zoo, why will they shut down our satellite this very evening that I'm about to come on air? Why is it that Facebook keeps restricting people from going to my page? Why is it that some very notable Biafran writers on social media that I used to see their posts before, I read and I comment, I no longer read from them, but they are there, they existing. Why are they doing all these things to us if we are not formidable? Why would they go out of their way to bribe one idiot called Dennis Sabo that I think he's a mercenary for Guardian. I think he gets money, he pays Guardian editors, they publish his nonsense. Why would they contract idiots like that to focus on what they claim to be? Let them go to destroy IPOB. How can you destroy? How can you destroy something that created you. That's something that gives you relevance. How is that possible? But that is what they are doing. Because there is a conveyor belt of a fulefu. There are people willing to trade their conscience on a daily basis to betray their own family, to betray their people. There are ways that they never finish. They never ever finish. They never ever finish. Nigeria, according to independent newspaper, and factually so, because they won't publish anything that is not correct, Nigeria was created by Britain in 1914. I have said this many times, and I'll keep saying it, because to other races, they may find it, they may absorb it and work with it. But to blacks, we don't do anything with it. But I'm telling you again, Nigeria was not created by God. Nigeria was created in 1914. In other words, my grandfather is older than Nigeria. And I keep asking this question. Where did my grandfather come from? If Nigeria was created in 1914, and by then Ozik wasn't born, Tafawa Balewa was not born, or maybe they were about 2 or 3 years old, I don't know. And Awolowo. But they're the founding fathers of Nigeria. They keep churning out this garbage every blessed day, and your brain, the more they churn out these lies, lie after lie, because they want to maintain one Nigeria. And for our people from the coastal region, that some idiots that will say Niger Delta, or South, or South, whatever their name, or Midwest, whatever new name they're now answering. Nigeria was created in 1914. 1914, not by God, but by the British. So Nigeria is a British interest. It was established for the colonial administrative convenience. It merged 3 separate cultures into one, which is impossible. It's like asking Osama bin Laden and Donald Trump to be in one country. It can never work. It can never ever work. The value system of the Persians, for instance, Iranians, is infinitely irreconcilable with that of, say, France or England. That was how God made the whole world. That was why he had the Tower of Babel. That you may be different, that you may speak in different tongues, because you're not one people. Regardless of how much you pretend, you can never be one, unless through oath you subscribe to one way of life, as they do in America. Before you become an American citizen, you must take an oath of allegiance to the USA. That is the only way. There is no other way. I'm just trying to lay out very brief background so you understand it. The Fulani people are in the north. They conquered the Hausa people. They speak Hausa. So that gave the Hausas the impression that Fulani are with them, but indeed, Fulani ravaged and decimated them. These Fulani nomadic people went to Yoruba land, to Kwara State, to be very precise. There they took Yoruba land from them. They converted the Yoruba people into their version of Salafist Islam, Janjaweed. In the east where we come from, we are predominantly Judeo-Christians. They acknowledged it. We are Judeos. I use Hebrew or Judaism to describe the way we were before the white man came. When we used to go to Arochukwu, the same way you have the Kotel, the temple of Solomon, rebuilt by Herod the Third and by Hezekiah on Temple Mount in Jerusalem. The same way they have a temple there was how our ancestors had a temple in Arochukwu. A temple, not church, temple in Arochukwu. For those who do not know history, when I read from them, I laugh. That is why every of our children will glorify God in heaven by the name we give to them. There is no other God. Chinkuku, that very mighty one, the Almighty, the Alpha and the Omega in heaven, was the God we are worshipping before the British came. And thankfully, we have gone back to that same God, one irreducible God. Not, it doesn't divide into 2, into 3, into 4, into 6, into 10. No, one. Our Father in heaven, as the Lord's Prayer made it very clear to us. Very simple and very straightforward. I want to pull out some of these things so you understand your history very, very clearly. Only then can you understand where the enemies are coming from. Only then can you know where they are coming from. Biafra only left the zoo, did not secede. We were not one people. Nobody asked us where we wanted to belong to. It was a project by Nnamdi Azikiwe. Nzogu took over after a while. He wanted one Nigeria. He grew up in Kaduna. His nickname was Kaduna. He wants to be one Nigeria, to make people feel happy about one Nigeria. The same thing some so-called intellectual buffoons are doing in the South today. Every time they are talking, they keep saying every part of this. You know it is impossible to civilize the North. You know it is impossible. They cannot be like Dubai. They cannot be like other civilized places like Qatar or Oman or Bahrain. Never. They can never be. These are Alamajiri territory. Street beggars by nature. Cattle headers by nature. You can never change them. But those of you in the South, either Yoruba or Igbo, all it is what Nigeria, let us build our country. It can never be great. It's impossible. It can never be great. Nigeria can never be great. You have ingrained Alamajiri feudal system in the North, which you can never change. You can never change. Instead, they will Alamajirize you yourself in the South, which is what they're doing now with their Islamization, with their Islamization policies. But you do not know, because some of you are daft. You don't reason very well. You claim you're educated with 10 PhDs, but your brain is empty. When we told you the simple truth, your PVC is useless. You thought, it's democracy. They started quoting Plato, Socrates, all this nonsense. Look at your Plato and Socrates at the Supreme Court today. All those nonsense you are writing, all those things that Hobbes said, something that Abraham Lincoln said, it's finished now in the Supreme Court. It's gone now. All that your PhD nonsense, all that thesis, all that theory, how PVC can help build the road, how PVC can build second Niger bridge, how PVC can make the rain come even in dry season, how PVC is answer to everything. Have you seen it now? Why? Because people who do not believe in democracy are in charge of the zoo. Biafra did not secede. We left when they started killing us. Why did they kill us? Nzogu, let me tell Alamajiri, I hope everybody is listening this evening very clearly. The coup came about because Nzogu, an Igbo man, wanted one Nigeria. He wanted a good Nigeria. Some nonsense some of them are doing today. They want this Nigeria to be progressive. Everybody will go to school. But they don't want their children to go to school. Nnamdi Azikiwe asked them to send their kids. They said no. And when I asked them to send their kids to school, they said no. They told the British, we don't want that education here. That is the meaning of Boko Haram. From the beginning, this Boko Haram you're seeing today, from the beginning, their MAs never wanted their children to go to school. Never. If they don't go to school, how are you going to civilize such a people? How is that possible, I'm asking you? They can't read, they cannot write. You have professors who can barely spell their names, and you're saying, oh, we will build, this country is going to be great. It is, you know, you're lying to yourself. It is impossible. Nzogu said he wanted to be part of one Nigeria. Nzogu was angry with Ahmadu Bello and all the corrupt politicians from the zoo for stealing money. Anti-corruption crusade. He went ahead and they started killing people. They killed people in the north, in the west. But no Igbo politician of note was killed. Listen very carefully, that is the truth of the matter. Are you going to kill Dr. Michael Okpara, that at his time had the fastest growing economy in Africa? The economy of eastern Nigeria under Okpara was growing at a rate of 40% every year. Listen very carefully to this, to what I'm saying. I said 40% every year. How can you kill him? Alamajiri got upset that Michael Okpara wasn't killed, Nnamdi Azikiwe was not killed. They went on a rampage and they killed top-ranking Igbo officers. They eliminated all of them in the army. That was how they started. They killed every Igbo officer in the army they could lay their hands on. They killed Akironsi. It wasn't enough. The likes of very genocidal Buhari. Then he was 33 years old, though, Buhari then, but he's still 71 today. And so they claim. Buhari, as a 33-year-old, wanted to avenge the death of the Sadwana. He wanted, what they came to do in our land was what they did with the B.M.K, to kill everybody. and allow only children from the age of 10, male, to survive. That was their plan with the British. These are according to official government papers released in Britain. Their plan was to kill every male child in Biafra land. You know the time about them, when they commit these atrocities and you ask them, oh, it's propaganda, it's propaganda. But their own documents, their own war records, their own archives always prove us right. It is there. They failed. Now listen to the catalog of mistakes that put us in this mess we are in today, that some of you writing for your Fulani masters on Facebook or other social media platforms. I want you to understand this very clearly, that the nonsense you're doing today, promoting one Nigeria, has been done before in the past. Look at where we are today. One Nigeria was promoted by Azikiwe. One Nigeria was promoted by Ironsi. It was one Nigeria that led Zobo to the coup, January 15 coup of 1966. He wanted to preserve one Nigeria. He grew up, I grew up in Kaduna. I'm a detribalized Nigerian. My name, he speaks Hausa very fluently. He had Yoruba friends, he had Hausa friends. He was very close to Obasanjo. Look at the mess we are in today. Some of you, having seen all the mess we are in as a result of the one Nigerian misadventure of Zeke, Ironsi and the rest. Some of you, even 2020, are still committed to that rubbish of your one Nigeria. Our sister is telling us here that millions of Biafrans died as a result of deliberate government policy of starvation by Awolowo. Awolowo thought the same. That is why I'm being very honest. You see this generation of Yoruba, this very one, these ones we can work with. You see this generation that set up this Amotekun or whatever they call it, this Operation Amotek, these very people, this generation of Yoruba that set up Vigilante. I'm not talking about the Yoruba of Tinubu, those that have sworn allegiance to the caliphate. I'm talking about the proper Yoruba. Those that set up this Vigilante. We can work with them. And we must commend them for what they have done. I never knew they would have the courage to do it. But they have done it. And I commend them. And if they need men, we will supply them men. And I can assure them tonight, and heaven will bear me witness, I am a Biafran. Everything I say, every word I utter, I stand by it. And I say to Yoruba today, we will stand by them through thick and thin. If they need 1 million men, we'll give it to them. To make sure that Fulani will not destroy what they have set up. We are prepared to do that. We have gone beyond the history of the past. That we can assure them this very evening. Without any equivocation. That IPOB, the entire by IPOB, I mean the whole of Biafra. We speak for Biafran people. We are saying to them today, this generation of Paaya Debanjo, that man, may God bless him, Paaya Debanjo, this generation of Yinka Odumakin, this generation of course, my very dear friend and dear brother, Femi Kayode, who I credit with making the Yoruba people very strong. This very generation that set up this Amotekun or whatever they call it, we can work with them, I assure you. We can work with them. They starved us to death. Of course, despite everything that Awolowo did, we will work with them. Because it will not go down. This, well, of course, our own, will come in spectacular. We started everything that is happening today. We did with BSS. And do you think we have forgotten? Of course, no. We are coming back in style. In very massive style. Very soon. We do things in a very special way that catches the attention of the whole world. But some of you don't know how far we have gone. Very soon you will know. We fought to free ourselves from Nigerian oppression and from the lingering vestiges of poisonous colonialism. That is why, listen carefully, let me tell you the meaning of poisonous colonialism according to our sister. Very poisonous colonialism. It's called neo-colonialism. That is why a Jokuta steel mill can never work. They have a Jokuta, but it's not functioning. You know about textile mill? They sold it to some Indians that shut it down to import textile from India. That is called poisonous colonialism they don't want us to develop. Britain knows, a sizable, significant portion of Europe knows this, that Biafra is the key to Biafra is the key, or to God the key itself, to free Biafra from bondage. They know. So what have they done? They focused all their effort to suppress Biafra. But you will not know. It's very subtle. Very, very subtle. You will not know. Every journalist working in Nigeria has been brought over by Nigeria. I said each and every one of them. AFP, Reuters. See, large sums of money have been given to their CEOs to abandon Biafra. If you don't talk about them, nobody will know they exist. That's the trick they have used. Britain used it during the war. And where we managed to get any news out, Britain will write and say it is propaganda. That picture of a starving child is propaganda. Britain never came out till this very day to apologize for misleading the world. Nearly 5 million people died, according to Irish records, Irish Catholic Church. Britain sat on it. The second worst genocide after the Jewish Holocaust. But because we are black people, we don't own the media, we have nobody to give us arms, nothing. They suppressed us. And after the war, what did we do? We did not learn from history. Jews were killed the same way they're killing us today. Jews were killed throughout history. The Spanish Inquisition, every manner of revolt, they blamed them for it and they killed them until they decided that if we don't go back to Israel, we will no longer exist as a people. That's how they went back to Israel, and they had to fight their way in. That is why what some of you want to do to us, as your Fulani, you Mbaka and his group, mostly in Enugu. I don't know why. These idiots, they're always based in Enugu. That is all these idiots are not nonsense of it. They're always in Enugu. I have no reason why that is the case. But thank God for the hardcores we have from Enugu. Our brother Chick of CHK that got us going from Enugu. Hardcore. If not, I'm telling you. The same nonsense you're doing now has been tried before. I'm saying this to them. They have tried it before. They did not succeed in getting us to take a. So you think that Alamajiri will allow you, as a Biafran graduate, to come out and excel in the office and they'll be looking at you? Do you think Nigeria will ever one day have a level playing field? The people telling you about one Nigeria, ask them why. I can't understand this. Our people sometimes. You have a seaport in front of your backyard in Iguacha, in Calabar, in Warri. They shut it down and ask you to go to Lagos to go and import your container, and you cannot ask yourself a simple question: is this fair? Oh dear me. We fought for freedom. And that nonsense is still going on till this very day. The killing of Biafran people is still going on. Still going on till this very day. Very, very sad indeed. Very, very sad indeed. Biafra will never go away. That I assure them. Instead, Biafra is coming in our time. You know, I read in England, so I know how to fight campaigns in England. Some of you do not know. I gave you an example before of the Hillsborough disaster. They went time after time, no public inquiry. The police people who were found negligent. No, nobody. No, you can do whatever you like. We won't do anything about it. Eventually, they got justice. It's something with the Easter uprising in Northern Ireland that some of you may not know about. They kept fighting until there was justice. This very IPOB, this very Biafra. I want to assure Alomajiri of something. We are not going to stop. They said because Ojukwu joined Nigerian politics and because some people use the name of Biafra to go and enrich themselves with Nigeria, the same thing Kanu will do the same thing. We are waiting for him. He will do the same thing. They don't know me. They have no idea who I am. That this was the same reason why I was born. Only for this very work, nothing else. Only for this work, to restore the kingdom of heaven upon the face of the earth. That's why we have come. Nothing more, nothing less. So what are you going to give to me that is greater than the kingdom of God? I'm asking, so you're coming. Oh, what does he need? Let's give it to him. Can you give me the kingdom of God? Which is what Biafra is. Can you give me the kingdom of heaven on earth? Which is what Biafra represents. You can't. So we are unbuyable. How can you buy us? We are unbuyable. That is what Britain did. There is somebody who wrote in an article titled "Who Killed Biafra?" His name is Stanley Diamond. Some of you do not know that Médecins Sans Frontières, this is Doctors Without Borders from France, started because of Biafra. You read it, maybe you come across it on social media, you read it and you just throw it away. Oh, it happened though, you throw it away. And you keep writing your one Nigeria rubbish. Oh, you insulted the Cape mother. Because of that, this year Biafra. You insulted Nangomodo. This year Biafra. I look at these fools and I laugh at them. Because they are foolish. These people you are mentioning, are they not the people responsible for your hopeless state you're in today? That condition you're in today, are these people not responsible? Are they not responsible? Have you not seen what they have done in Yoruba land? Have you not seen what Governor Autumn is trying to do in Benue State? Have you not seen what people do when they want to defend their own people? You have a governor from Anambra saying, we are working with Mieti Yala. If you kill any Anambra indigenous, you both have 100,000. People are clapping, hey, we hail governor. Unbelievable. After the war. I'm telling you people, I mean, some of you are a disgrace. I don't know how you can say you're a Biafran or you have a Biafran blood in you. I don't understand it. I just don't. I cannot fathom it. Not for 1 second. This person wrote a very compelling article. Who killed Biafra? I can assure you it's not Fulani. Let me say, I say this to Britain because I'm an Anglophile. Everybody knows how much I love Britain. Their way of life. I keep saying it that the most reasonable people, if you go and you discuss with them, they are very reasonable. They're the ones who abolished slavery before USA. They abolished slavery. There are some bad elements whose job it is to make sure that Africa does not see the light. Some of you don't know this, but we know. Because we go into places where people can't enter. Some of you can enter there. Some of the places we have been to, you can, not in a trillion years, you can't go there. That was why Jubril was panicking and was saying to the US ambassador, people with access. It is IPOB they're talking about. People with access to government all over the world. Where people can't enter, we enter that very place and petition. You must understand these things. Not you pay one useless Dennis of a news contractor that can write for Lucy. Anything you ask he will write. Maybe on our one foundation village looking for cement and gravel to complete the foundation. Maybe he gave him some change. He took on the contract of saying he will rubbish IPOB. Oh dear me. Vanguard will be in trouble. Vanguard newspaper. You don't take time. This man wrote, "Who killed Biafra?" And from what he is writing here, it is very, very clear. It is very, very clear that those that killed Biafra, I want to mention them for you so you understand. Oh dear me. Oh dear, unbelievable. 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 Britain. Remember that during the Biafran War was the Vietnam War, the height of the Cold War between the East and the West. They were not meant to be talking to each other. But according to British government papers, Britain, when Britain goes to UN that time, and they no, we don't want any escalation of the problem, we don't support arms being given to either side to continue this war. People are suffering. But meanwhile, according to United Kingdom documents, UK government papers, not IPOB papers, not Biafra papers, the same British government went to Russia and asked Russia to supply Nigeria with weapons. Meanwhile, they were busy enforcing the blockade of Biafra's territorial waters. So we cannot receive any arms, either through the sea or through the air. Do you now follow me very carefully? The same thing that Oliver North tried to do in Nicaragua. Under the Reagan administration, they didn't want to supply the Contras direct. They went through Iran. Have you heard of the Iran-Contra affair? The same thing, exactly the same thing happened in Biafra. Britain, the creators of Nigeria, the colonial master, not God, the creator of Nigeria is Britain and not God. Anybody mentioning God is suffering from inferiority complex. It was Britain that created Nigeria. Britain went to Russia and said, these monkeys from Africa jumping all over the place, they're called Biafrans, those niggers, we want to teach them a lesson to let them know that we are the only people allowed to create them. Who are they to say no to what we created? Some of you don't know that they're boasting in Europe. When I ask them, they look at Africans and they laugh at us. They say, we created you. The boundaries you have, we created them for you. You are nobody. Once you're a Nigerian, you are a product of the British. You are nothing but a zoo animal. You must understand this. It's a simple fact of life. A very simple fact of life. They see how clever they are. You know, British. They packaged Nigeria very well. They said, no, we can't give it to Awolowo. We can't give it to Zeke. These ones are educated. They went to school. Let's give it to Alamajiri. So through Alamajiri, they can still control your life. And now, let me tell you how these things have now unfolded. Because today, Alamajiri is doing the same thing. You have seen the mathematics they have done at the Supreme Court. They have concluded that it is now also them. When everybody knows that nobody can win. The election to the House of Assembly was held on the same day as the governorship election in Imo State. But Fulani needs to control who controls you. So they gave you Uzodinma. Hope Uzodinma. So through Hope Uzodinma, as Britain is now doing to the zoo, through the Fulani Caliphate, they can control all of you in Imo State. They can bring in Ruga. They can bring in Fulani settlement. They can kill our mothers. They can rape. They can abduct. Nothing will happen. Do you see how they take you over? Those who claim that they are spiritually inclined, like they are religious, like Mbaka, who is basically a village informant. They go to him and they say, you know, your people, they love God so much. You know, they believe in God. Anything you say in the name of God, they will follow you. Why don't you say that God gave you a revelation that Uzodinma will win? It's called kite flying. I know why IPOB kept quiet. Once he made that comment, it was kite. They wanted to test the water to see if they bring in Uzodinma, if Imo people will rise up, or if there will be some kind of disquiet in the land. Once he said it, and the fools that some of us are, you went, oh, Mbaka's prophecy. They said, okay, those idiots are talking about prophecy. Let's give it to Hope Uzodinma. That's how he got it. That is how we are the architects of our own destruction. We bring destruction upon ourselves. Those idiots that write on social media, those fools that claim, oh, we are writers, we can write. The thing with it is that you spend 1 to 2 weeks writing an epistle. Have you seen any of them on a live one-to-one interview before? That they cannot pronounce any common word in English. They struggle. But if you allow them, they go to their broken screen or Chinese phone. They type and they copy articles and they edit from abroad. He say, hey, that man is a wordsmith. He has spoken. Did you see what he wrote? Rubbish. Put a microphone in his mouth live. I said, please tell me all those things that you wrote in Facebook the other day. He won't tell you anything. Because he knows nothing, his brain is empty. They plagiarize. They doctor documents and they bring it and you think it is their original idea. They know nothing. If you want to know somebody like Tanko, they say Tanko is a chief justice. Place microphone in front of him. I think somebody tweeted that after watching Tanko in Supreme Court, he lost every hope in the zoo. It's something I've been telling you from day one, but you won't listen. Those who fought the war was Britain. Britain was fighting the Biafran people because of British hatred for the Igbo man. Britain hates us. Please, I must caution, not every British person, no. Their government at the time, but have carried the policy forward, and I will tell you why they are doing it till today. Have you seen the reaction of France towards the dismantling of CFA? That currency that through which France have been basically enslaving some West African countries. That's normal. Have you seen it at all? That's the reaction. Imagine, it's like building a house that you've put tenants in that very house. Every month you go and collect rent from your tenants. And somebody is telling you, oh, I want to dismantle the land is mine. I want to dismantle it and build something better. That's what we're trying to do. Do you think, will you say no? Even as a human being, will you say no? You will say, will you say yes? Go ahead. Of course you will say no. That's what Britain is doing to us. Britain built Nigeria. They take pride in it. Do you know what it means? There is a song, not actually a song, it's actually a verse in the good book. It says, it's only God in heaven that can build a nation, not man. So when Africans allowed Europeans to come and create nations in Africa, what we did was to hand over to the British. What we did, in essence, was to hand over to the British that title or that very recognition which only God in heaven can have. You must understand this. That is why they don't want to see Nigeria dismantled. Not that maybe some British people may not love Biafra, no, but they created, you know what it means to create a country? They came, they huddled now, allegedly 200 million people together in one cage called Nigeria. They love it. They created you. But some people come and say, oh, but God made Nigeria. Is it in 1914? Where is it in the Bible that God made Nigeria in 1914? Where is it in the Bible? I'm asking, tell me where it's in the Bible that God made Nigeria in 1914. They say the will of the people is the will of God. I agree. But did the people actually come together to create Nigeria? Is the answer not no? Is the answer not no? I am asking, is the answer not no? How do you think, therefore, that Britain will allow you to break up their own creation? You are their toy. You are a toy to them. You are a plaything to them. They derive joy from it. It was Britain that fought Biafra, not Alamajiri from the north. They keep lying. They keep lying every blessed day. We fought the war. Our children fought the war. Very, very sad indeed. Britain wanted our oil. The same, they're very clever. It is the same logic and the same argument that when you go to an Igbo man in Ikwere, I read, of course, I know that's tongue in cheek, I'm not going to refer to that. Somebody will say, oh, but you want us for our oil. Do you see how foolish certain people are? Naturally daft. Daft by nature. 70% of the oil being lifted. 70% of oil being lifted from the coastal regions of Biafra land comes from the hinterland. 70%. 70%. And Britain doesn't want to let go. So you must understand. Look at IPOB. Of course, we are not fighting Britain, heaven forbid. No, of course not, we are not. But ideologically and morally, we are fighting them. This IPOB. And we are winning. We are fighting them and we are winning. It is only by the grace of Elohim that Biafrans exist till this very day. You know what they did? They use what is called gerrymandering. They carve out the borders. They tell you, oh, you're no longer together. You're not one people. You are equal. You are from Abonema. You are from Obone. But they're only Igbo-speaking people, by the way. Their mothers tie two-piece wrapper with headscarf. We all know that very well. But no, you're not together. But Alamajiri will come from Senegal. Alamajiri from Fatajalon. And trace his relatives all the way to Kogi. Unbelievable. And they always hold on to NMPC. It is their thing. NMPC. That is the interest of Britain. Britain is who controls the oil. That is why Britain will always fight. That's one of their own. In so-called northerners, so to speak, is at the helm of NMPC. Very, very sad indeed. Those who fought against Biafra, even the State Department papers, if you go to New York Times, it is there. It is the British that fought against Biafra, not Almajiri from the north. The British did. Not Nigerian soldiers. We want to commemorate those that. No, not you. It's the British that fought Biafra. If we are to fight the Almajiri, any blessed day will defeat them. And they know it very, very well. We'll defeat them. We will defeat them. Therefore, we must continue. The time now is exactly 8 minutes past the top of the hour. Regardless of where you are around the world, this is a live presentation. Radio Biafra, they have shut us down on satellite. We are not transmitting on satellite this very evening. Our radio in Biafra land is not broadcasting. As a matter of fact, this very broadcast is not going out live to our people because our enemies are at work. Our enemies are at work, but we are defeating all of them. We are defeating all of them. There is another white person called Karen E. Smith. She wrote a paper, The UK and Genocide in Biafra. The UK, United Kingdom, was part and parcel of the genocide, of the death of 5 million people because they want our oil, they want our gas, and they want to impose Almajiri over us. They see Biafra as the light of the world, and they want to extinguish that very light, that very glory that Chukwu Kikabiyama said we must fight for. We must make sure that Biafra is restored in our time, that his glory may descend from heaven to that very Africa that they have scorned for centuries. In late August of 1968, this is the UK and the genocide. A British proposal. Nigeria announced that it will allow international observer team into the country to show that it was not pursuing a campaign of genocide in Biafra. Even the world, they knew that there was genocide. But Britain always, I told you, Britain always at the forefront. Always at the forefront. British proposal. Come and see there is not genocide. It's just like when they killed us at Tumpo, after the destruction at Tumpo, and they're the ones that told the Fulani Almajiri soldiers, if you kill them, take their corpses. So there'll be no evidence. So when you tell them that our people were killed at Tumpo, they'll say, oh, but where are the dead bodies? Any day we march. My goodness. Some of you, those who know me, will always understand anything I say that I will do it. When I say the zoo will fall, the zoo will fall. Write it down on a piece of paper, the zoo will fall. Watch and see what is going to happen. It's only will you have the stomach for it when we commence? Will you have the stomach to so even not now when we ask you not to vote that you're wasting your time, you start complaining. Talkers of mounting a sustained campaign for many years to be free. That is why I respect Eritrea and I respect Southern Sudan. I respect them. Freedom is not cheap. When it's time to fight, we are coming home and we're going to do it. Unless they decide and give it to us so that we can go the same way we were before the white man came. My contention tonight is this. Britain cannot assume the role of God. You cannot do it. You are not God. You are a white man from Europe. You are not God in heaven. God is in heaven, not in Europe. I want somebody to go to Google tonight and type in who created Britain. Simple assignment I ask you to do all the time. Write in there who created Germany. Go to Google and ask Google. Then write who created Nigeria. They'll tell you it's Britain. And then you tell me that you're the same as them. No, you're not. You're an animal in a zoo somewhere in Africa. Britain pushed for the observer team to be created to try to bleach out all the incriminating evidence against them. They were never ever objective. Some of you should go and research it. In Almajiri in the north, they don't read. The highest place they get their news from is that very corrupt Channels TV and Daily Trust. That's all. That's the place they get their news from. And what do they know? Almajiri, the answer is no. They're not educated. They're not well read. If they are well read, they will understand that Britain fought Biafra through them. They did not fight Biafra. They did not defeat Biafra. That is a statement of fact. A statement of fact. Britain was more interested in making sure, that no arms got into Biafra. Meanwhile, they were busy arming Gowon,
giving him all the arms. We have defeated the rebels. We defeated the rebels. I led the second commando. We defeated the rebels. When it was Britain that actually did the war, fought for them. You came to Biafra and you tied our hands behind our back. We still fought a war for 3 years. That war, you can no longer fight. You're fighting it in very subtle ways. You shut down our industries. Our glass factory, our paint factories, none of them is working. Absolutely none. Even Innocent cannot receive any help from the government. They went outside to go and bring an outside firm to come in to give you whatever automotive needs that you may have. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Some people are still saying we are part of it, can be salvaged. They have now given them their new nonsense 2023 presidency. Do you see this 2023? That is where you will know how powerful IPOB is. And I'm saying it now. No amount of pressure, no amount of blackmail, no amount of rubbish will change our mind. That new hope of Igbo presidency, you should just abandon it. It will never happen. It will never happen. We allowed you. Can you imagine if we were said to people, oh, don't vote? This thing now happening to Ihedioha. They will say it is because of IPOB. They will say that people shouldn't vote. It's because of you that P2B lost. Supreme Court being peopled by Fulani and picked reprobates are there delivering judgment that doesn't make any sense, which I'll get to later on. Tell me you want one Nigeria. Those who fought against Biafra are